which is obviously very impressive. Michael Majors 3-0 as well. Majors playing the more traditional of the two. But also worth noting is that Majors actually is one of the people who kind of thought of this deck pretty early, wrote about it on Star City Games earlier this week as far as what new cards are going into the deck. So I'm interested, as here's an Expedition map to start things off. I love Brews.
Yeah, this deck, look at this, Mind Stones? This deck has a bit of everything.
I forgot Scrabbling Claws was a card. I'm curious to see how good it is here. Pluto Delta is where Matrix is going to start. Matrix is the boring side of this matchup.
It's interesting seeing all of these cards that kind of have collateral benefits. You know, you're trying to facilitate your own game plan by removing graveyard cards, but you're also hindering the opponent's game plan.
That's true.
Against many of the decks in this format.
What's also notable here, as you saw Baugh start off with an Expedition map, he's playing 3 copies of that. What that leads me to believe is, you know, this deck is playing 4 Ivugans. Obviously, you don't want to draw multiple copies of that card, but you do want to have one.
Oh, it's so important.
Yeah, so that you're actually playing Expedition map in your deck to actually have one. Here's a Thought Scour from Michael. He's going to turn over a couple cards. Kolaghan's Command is 1, Pluto Delta is 2, and now he'll draw a card, which is a Tassiger. Isn't that neat? Terminate the draw.
And you can see this Eldrazi deck even plays a main deck Bajuka Baugh.
I like this.
Yeah.
I like this. Now, we did have Jacob Baugh in the sideboard. Nick Miller did sit down with him for a deck tech, so we'll have something for you guys about that later this weekend.
Michael is just, Majors just dodged all of the graveyard hate by just getting the Tasker online immediately.
So far, he's got a 4-5 out there right now. Ivugan is the weapon of choice there for Baugh. He'll draw a card. For me, this deck, obviously I'm not going to judge this deck by one match, but yeah. I know a lot of people have been really interested in what this deck has been doing online, and this is kind of a good idea. You know, Michael Majors is a fantastic player, Grand Prix champion late last year with blue-red tutelage and standard, and I mean, his resume kind of speaks for itself at this point. He's playing a deck that he knows very well and does have SCG Tour top 8s with. See how it kind of stands up against one of the juggernauts of the format in Grixis Control.
Sure, and it looks like Jacob had almost everything as far as the start that you would want.
He's just passing the turn back right now.
But you can see the dangers of playing a mono black deck. Maybe you just don't draw the pieces you need. You don't have the deck manipulation that some of the other decks have.
Yeah. Majors, after an attack with Tasker, just going to pass the turn back. Baugh will draw. Pitch up a copy of Inquisition of Kozilek. The other thing, too, right, is with this deck, there's an Eldrazi Temple. That's a huge draw. Is, you know, your lands are legendary. Like, Jacob has another copy of Urborg in his hand. I think he might have another copy of Ivugan. He's going to start off with Inquisition, so we're going to get an idea what Majors is working with here. Michael doesn't look thrilled to have to show his hand.
So he's trying to weigh the value of each card in his hand right now. Should I Lightning Bolt him right now? Will he take the Lightning Bolt if I don't Lightning Bolt him right now? You know, he's doing a lot of math, adding up the clock. And we'll see what he decides here.
Looks like he's going to cast Kolaghan's Command. It's going to be 2 damage to make Jacob discard a card. Jacob going to discard just a basic Swamp. And now here's Michael's hand to terminate. Another copy of Tassiger, a Murderous Cut, a Lightning Bolt, and a Steam Vents. So the selections here are between Lightning Bolt and Terminate. And Baugh going to record this information, and we'll see what card he does want to select.
Now, if he has a card like Oblivion Sower in his hand, he's inclined to take the Terminate. But there's still, and there it is.
That answers that. Here is Oblivion Sower. 3, 4. And now he gets any lands that were exiled. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Even, yeah.
So what I forgot was that Ivugan can tap for mana because of Urborg. So Ivugan actually just generates 3, not 2.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And he even gets the lands that were exiled earlier in the game.
Swamp check in the deck. 7, so the Deltas can 5 lands. Also, there's Urborg, so the tap for mana.
Yep.
Okay, fair enough. And now he's got to beat a 5/8 and he just lost his Terminate. Got it.
Well, he does have the Murderous Cut in his hand.
Very true. Go over to Majors. Majors draw for the turn. It's a Blackleaf Cliffs. See, this Eldrazi deck, this is the kind of deck when, you know, like your friend tells you about it or something, or you see the deck list and you're just like, it's just some maniac, just trying like some idea out. And that's how I try to stay open-minded, but sometimes when I see a deck list, it's so obscure, it's just like, well, I'll let them figure that out. Sure. I'm going to go back to playing, Affinity or Tron or something like that. But this deck has been putting up crazy results online. And now we're seeing players try other colors in it. We've seen black-white versions with Lingering Souls. Some red-black versions starting to crop up a little bit. Now, Baugh is already down to 10, and Majors does have a Lightning Bolt in hand, so a theoretical 7 right now. Baugh going to tap a bunch of mana here.
Uh-oh.
You can cast that now? 2, 3, 4, 6, 7.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, he can.
Yep.
All right, Ulamog is here much earlier than I thought it would be.
And he's asking himself, do I want to just get 2 lands here? It's hard for this Grixis deck to operate off of just 2 lands.
Yeah, I think the question, right, is so he's definitely looking towards lands now.
Yep.
He's saying I can cut your black sources, kill your Watergrave and your Blackleaf Cliffs, or I can cut your red sources, kill your Sulphur Falls and your Blackleaf Cliffs, but it looks like he's going to go with the black sources. And clearly Ulamog's not leaving the battlefield anytime soon, given its text.
Yep.
This is an impressive start for this deck.
Yeah, it looked like, turn 3 he had all those lands, but nothing really doing. Then all of a sudden turn 4, Inquisition and the Sower.
Yep.
Turn 5, Ulamog. Right? That's the order it played out in?
Yeah, that's how it played out.
That's just a lot of clean living right there. Yeah.
That's not what I expected to see happen. Wasteland Strangler in hand here for Baugh. He's just going to pass the turn back.
He's low enough, and he knows about the Lightning Bolt, so he doesn't want to trade 10 points for the option of the possibility of just dying on the next turn.
There's a Scalding Tarn for Majors. Also, Baugh has enough mana available that he can activate Ivugan.
Yep.
As far as bullets are concerned, Oblivion, Sower, 4 of those, 4 Blight Herders, 4 Wasteland Stranglers, and
more Ulamogs.
Another Ulamog.
He's going to get to attack and then remove 2 more lands.
You might even see him just take care of the Tasker this go around.
Yeah, he might.
He knows about the Tasker that Matrix has in hand. The other card right now is a mystery to Jacob, as he'll be untapping and taking a draw step here. There's a Swamp. Here's an attack. There'll be a trigger there from Ulamog in just a moment. I think Majors might be considering a concession instead of revealing the 20 cards. But it looks like he will reveal the 20 cards.
10 cards?
Oh, no, 20.
Oh, it is 20.
No, it's
You're
20.
right.
Attacks for 10.
Yeah. No, 20 is a few cards.
Not bad. Do give away a little bit of info.
Another Oblivion Sower comes down, you get a few lands.
A couple Kolaghan's commands, Lightning Bolts, Mana Leak, Jace, stuff like that. Jacob will pick up on that information. Bunch of lands over there, as you mentioned. Inquisition of Kozilek as well. I don't think Majors can afford to block because blocking just seems like losing at this stage.
Yeah, but unfortunately, he knows the other Ulamog's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eldrazi Temple, some fetch lands that'll tap for black mana. Ivugan, which will tap for 3 in theory, so here's another Ulamog. Ball's going to go after some land jet again.
and this is close to another perfect victory here. Yeah. No, the game's not over yet, but...
Now there's a Wasteland Strangler. So that's going to exile, it's going to process the Inquisition. And now another Wasteland Strangler. This is adorable.
Yeah, that's fair.
This is the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Sure.
Jacob Baugh's going to win again and 1 here over Michael Majors. Mono Black Eldrazi up a game over Grixis Control as these players are going to go to the sideboard. We got to see Mono Black Eldrazi do its thing. We'll see if Majors can combat that. 3 Fulminator Mages, 2 Bitter Blossom, a Jurbai Murklurker, a Crumble to Dust, a Tribute to Hunger, Engineer Explosives, and Negate, and this is Staticaster, a Peace Strider, a Vandal Blast, and 2 Dispels for Mr. Majors. What do we like there?
He definitely has to attack the lands here. So bringing in the Fulminator Mages and Crumble to Dust, is that the...
That's your new Sowing Salt.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
Sowing Salt.
Yeah. That's the easier to cast Avoid Sowing Salt.
Yep.
I like the land destruction plan right off the bat. The card that is interesting to me a little bit here is Tribute to Hunger.
Okay.
Extra 3-mana Edict effect, where I don't think Jacob's deck is going to have multiple creatures in the battlefield that often. So that can snag Ulamog because it's sacrifice effect, and can snag Blight. It can snag Oblivion Sower, unlikely to get Blight Herder. So I think that that's like a decent option. I don't love the idea of negate or other counter magic, but what's clear to me, and I think this is going to happen a lot for Jacob, is I don't think there's going to be a lot of people packing stuff against his deck.
Sure.
Because I don't even know what the appropriate ways to fight. I think that Michael has good options here with the land destruction. I think that's a good thing to have. But also, right...
I mean, the nightmare for that deck has to be like Blood Moon, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
I can't... I have to imagine this deck has a really hard time winning through Blood Moon. I guess what I was going to say is, like, land destruction is obviously good against this deck, but like they also just have redundant copies of their legendary lands in hand, right? So if you blow up an Eye of Ugin with Fulminator Mage, it's like, okay, well, I have another one?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I guess not every time.
Sometimes.
That's true. For Jacob's side, 4 Sun Droplets, 3 Duress, 2 Ratchet Bombs, 2 Drowning Sorrows, 2 Knight of Soul's Betrayal, a Memoricide, and a Cranial Extraction. Like anything here?
Well, if he's afraid of a card like Blood Moon, I would think the Ratchet Bombs have to come in.
Okay.
A lot of these other cards, you know, the dresses seem very powerful. But other than that, I mean, he's not going to want Sun Droplet. He's not going to want the Knight of Soul's Betrayal. So, you know, maybe three Duresses, maybe 2 Ratchet Bombs.
All right, there's your options. Both players going to finish sideboarding, shuffling up. We'll watch game number 2 here in just a moment. Michael Majors will be on the play. We'll talk about regionals now, as we did go over the schedule here for Season 1 of the SCG Tour. Regional is a very important part of that if you're looking to qualify for the Players' Championship or win Season 1. You see the playmat here that is available. Of course, all information at go.starcitygames.com/regionals. There's also the token available. These are free and exclusive playmat and token to the first 200 players. And as you'll see here on the next slide, you'll see the payout and the SCG points along with the qualification. Now, any tournament where you can win $1,200 is awesome. But the SCG points, pretty big deal. 15 for first place, and the only place you can get SCG points are our main events here, so our open, our classics, which take place on day number 2, and then regionals. That's it.
That's it.
So, for regionals, it's a very important tournament. If you're not qualified for Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch, definitely get to your local regional, and you can find all the locations at go.starcitygames.com/regionals. Also right here in front of you, so if you're in Ohio, that'll be in Columbus. If you're in Washington, like I used to be, that'll be in Seattle, so on and so forth. Again, go.starcitygames.com/regionals for more information. Plant your flag February 6th, 2016.
Qualify for the Invitational.
Absolutely. Game number 2 about to be on the way. All right, I'm just gonna get it out there. I was impressed by Mono Black Eldrazi, but is that so? Okay, that it did everything it was supposed to that game. What happens when it doesn't?
Sure,
that's the question. What happens when it draws 3 Urborgs? What happens when it draws 2 Eye of Ugins? Stuff like that. That's kind of the concern, I think.
Yeah, but it seems like this might just be a really rough matchup for the Grixis control deck. It doesn't come out super fast and put any pressure on. The Eldrazi ramp deck that we're looking at might just line up well. The collateral damage with the Graveyard Hate is just spectacular against Jace and Snapcaster.
Yeah, that stuff's huge.
You know, so maybe that's just a bad matchup.
Yeah, I got 4 Relics, 3 Scrabbling Claws. Actually, it looks like Jacob is not playing Nile Spellbound. We've seen that a lot in this deck before. I'm a little surprised by the Mind Stones. Did not expect to see those.
Well, and there's the Bajuka Bog that you can search for with the Expedition maps.
Yeah. Major's going to take a mulligan here. It looks like Baugh's going to keep his opening hand. For Michael Majors, last year, a bit of a bounce back. He was almost a platinum level pro on the professional circuit. We've seen some success for him on the SCG Tour with 5 top 8s, 1 victory, 2 Grand Prix top 8s with 1 win at Grand Prix San Diego last year with the Blue Red Sphinx's tutelage deck, which he just kind of picked up on accident. The person who was supposed to bring his deck, his Obzon deck, did not bring it. So
I guess that worked out okay.
Yeah, so he had no other option but to play Blue Red Sphinx's tutelage, and he won the tournament. An avid reader, an amateur kayak enthusiast.
Sure, why not?
I'm going to have to discuss that with him. And aspires to own an Applebee's franchise in the future. He calls Applebee's Club Bees.
I mean, you need goals in life.
You do. It's important to set goals.
You know? When's the last time you were in a kayak?
I've never been in a kayak. Ever.
Okay.
I can't swim. Don't laugh. I can't swim. So I have never been in a kayak before.
We can remedy this.
How do we do that?
I'll take you someplace, put you in a kayak.
But what if I fall out of the kayak?
Oh, we'll put a life jacket on you.
I'm not wearing a life jacket. That's embarrassing. I prefer...
So you'd rather fall in the water?
I just don't want to be around the water at all. I prefer to stay away from the water. Here's a Bitter Blossom. I'm not. It's not that I just don't like pools, swimming, kayaks, wakeboarding, that stuff. No.
Okay, I've done most of these things.
They're probably all really fun. Jet skiing,
Sure.
sailboats. I don't want any of that until I learn how to swim, which I'll probably never do.
Okay, well, like I said, you need goals in life.
I do. Maybe that's my goal, learn how to swim.
Yeah.
When I was young, full disclosure, as Jacob Baugh is just going to play a swamp pass turn back, my parents took me for swimming lessons. Bitter Blossom token on the way. I didn't think there was a bottom to the pool, so I refused to get in. That's why I can't swim.
That's great.
Yeah. There was nothing the lifeguard or my parents could do to get me to go in.
I love seeing the world through the eyes of a younger child.
Yes. So I would not go in the pool, and I know that there's a bottom now, so I can go in now. But still, I'm just not interested.
Still a little wary.
Yeah. And I'm setting my non-swimming ways at this stage.
Sure. All right, we see Michael Majors brought in those Bitter Blossoms. It's an avenue to pressure his opponent.
I think it's important for him to have this because you mentioned that Grixis Control has problems with closing the game.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people know at this stage. And Bitter Blossom, while I don't think it's the best card in the matchup, he has to do something.
Yes.
To get the ball rolling. So I'm fine with him starting off with the Bitter Blossom, getting that in from the deck. He's got a fairy token out here. He can do some pretty good chump blocking, honestly, if it comes down to that.
I don't think that's the objective.
Sure.
Let's get our flyers in there.
Aggro down. Oh, so yeah, he's taking a real aggressive slant now. Here's a Snapcaster Mage, not even flashing anything back.
Yep.
Go for the throat will take care of that. They get a Bitter Blossom trigger. Another token on the way. Majors will draw for the turn. We'll be attacking for 1 in just a moment. Ball's going to fall down to 19. And now, ooh, the crumble. We'll see Jacob's hand. There's a Blight Herder, an Oblivion Sower, a Ghost Quarter, a Slaughter Pact, and an Eye of Ugin, but he's now out of Eldrazi Temples.
That's a big hit.
Yeah.
For a hand that was already kind of slow.
Yep. And this deck has a million crumble targets. You've got Eye of Ugin, you've got Eldrazi Temple. You might actually have a lot of interest in hitting Urborg.
Yep.
A lot of the time.
Oh, getting Urborg is big.
Yeah. I don't know what the best target is. Like, if all three were out there, I don't know what you would choose. Probably Eye?
Probably already lost, right?
I guess that's true. Yeah, if they're all out there, that's a good point. That's a good point. They're probably doing their thing then. But there's the grip there for Baugh. Again, Oblivion Sower, Blight Herder, Slaughter Pact, Eye of Ugin, and Ghost Quarter. So I guess this will be another interesting experiment with this deck, right? We'll find out if it can fight through something like this.
Sure.
Because if it's able to fight through the lack of Eldrazi Temples, I'm already interested in the deck, but now it's really piquing my interest of, okay, this deck might actually be quite legit.
Yeah, is it actually resilient?
Baugh will untap, take a draw step. Picked up a copy of Ratchet Bomb. You had a feeling that was going to come in. Good against this Bitter Blossom that's going on. There's another Ghost Quarter.
Yeah, and Jacob was going to be, on the Blight Herder this turn if he didn't lose that land.
Yep. And there goes Snapcaster Mage. Pass the turn back. Majors will make another fairy token with Bitter Blossom. One of those will always be Summoning Sick, of course. Here comes an attack for 2. Ball going to fall down to 17. One thing I'm curious of as we watch this game kind of unfold is how he wants to go about using the Ratchet Bomb. I'm pretty sure it's just going to stay on 0.
Sure.
And just, what's the number of tokens that'll be on the battlefield where he decides it's correct to blow it.
Yep.
Pluto Delta going to be removed. There's Eye of Ugin. Here comes Blight Herder. So when you cast Blight Herder, you may put 2 cards from your opponent's own. 2 cards your opponents own from exile into their owner's graveyard. So you get to process 2 cards. If you do, put 3 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion on the battlefield.
It's a big payoff.
Yeah. Big body there in a 4/5. He gets 3 1/1s that can accelerate into other stuff. I want to know the person that thought of this deck.
It's a bit of everything, but it all comes together.
My brain just doesn't work this way. Like, I would never think of building a deck like this. I say that a lot when I think about Lantern Control, too.
Oh, that deck is so far out there.
Yeah, I would never think of a deck like that. I don't think I would ever think of a deck like this, either.
You need to be way in the deep end to put together Lantern Control.
Yeah. Back to Majors. Another Bitter Blossom token. He'll fall down to 14, draw a card for the turn, picked up an island.
And we probably won't see that Ratchet Bomb get blown up this turn.
No.
He's got to keep his little Eldrazi spawn around.
Baugh going to fall down to 14. It's a tie game as far as light totals are concerned. I think Baugh has the better board position right now, though.
Well, and he's in a position where any of the fatties that he draws, he can get them on the board right away.
Yep.
He might be just short of Ulamog. But, you know, an Oblivion Sower, another Blight Herder, he's getting it done.
Majors right now, Kolaghan's Command, I believe 2 lands in hand right now. Trying to represent some strength.
Well, he's wondering if he uses the Kolaghan's Command, try to get something back from his graveyard. Will his opponent realize to sacrifice one of his tokens to power up his relic?
Okay. I guess the Kolaghan's Command, it has so many different modes it can have that it will influence Jacob's behavior quite a bit.
Will he find a point to get some value out of it?
Relica, remove a card on Michael's upkeep. Excuse me, on Jacob's upkeep. So now he draws a card for the turn. Oblivion Sower in hand. Does have the mana to cast it in combination with the little Eldrazi out there. If he's drawn a discard spell, it's good to clear the path.
He's got it all.
Yeah. Here's an Inquisition. Majors is going to be forced to respond with this Kolaghan's Command.
And you see this game, it was the turn 2 Bitter Blossom, turn 4, get rid of all of one of your lands.
Yep.
And it's looking bad for him.
Yeah, if he's able to fight through this, and it looks like right now, Baugh is in a winning position. I think he's a little bit ahead right now.
Oh, I would definitely be in Baugh's camp.
Then that means that this deck has a little bit of resiliency. And that's a little scary to me, because when you take a look at a deck list like this and you see what's going on, you think like, okay, well, I can like Fulminator Mage them, and they probably can't function, or Crumble to Dust them, or Blood Moon them, or something like that. But if that's not the case, that's a little scary. Here's Relic. Going to activate that to exile all the graveyards.
In response to the Kolaghan's Command.
Yep. Scalding Tarn is the last card hand in there for Michael, so nothing doing there. And will there be a follow-up? He could Oblivion Sower this turn if he wants to. Ivugan generates 2. The Scions will give him 5, and then Ghost Quarter is 6. I don't know if it's necessary to go that route, but you also know the coast is clear.
Well, he might be interested also using those tokens as soon as possible so that he can activate his Ratchet Bomb.
Sure. Trigger. Serum Visions. Mana Leak, Inquisition terminate, so 2 Polluted Deltas headed that way. Keep in mind, we do have a Jacob Baugh deck tech coming for you guys as well at some point today. He already sat down with Nick Miller in the sideboard to discuss his build of this deck, as now Michael is on chump blocking duty, so he knows those things aren't going to be around for a while.
It's coming at him from every angle.
Yep. Here's Bitter Blossom. And now all the tokens are dead via Ratchet Bomb. Serum Vision's the draw here. Picked up a copy of Vandal Blast, I believe. Yep. But those aren't artifacts.
Those are not artifacts.
They look like artifacts, but those aren't artifacts.
It looked like he scryed 2 to the bottom there. You know, Majors is in a bit of a desperation mode. He's staring down 2 fatties. His opponent has tons of lands in play. You know, you would have thought his game plan was going well, but it just didn't pan out.
Well, with how we started the game, we saw, as you mentioned, turn 2 Bitter Blossom.
Yep.
Turn 3 Snapcaster Mage just to get to the board.
Yep.
That got Go for the Throated. Turn 4 Crumble to Dust your Eldrazi Temple to really stunt your development. And Baugh has not cared about any of that, I would say.
Yeah, it has not looked like a problem at all.
Yeah. He's going to sacrifice blue to Delta here, go get a swamp. He came across for a pretty large chunk of damage last turn. And now we'll see what else he's going to do as he's searching up this swamp. Oh, there's another Oblivion Sower.
Not.
Bloodstained Mire, 2 Jace's Blood Crypt. You get these.
And all these extra lands that he's getting are so useful. They can activate the Ivugan later in the game.
I guess is that okay. I'm just going to pass the turn back. Yeah, the lands that he actually hits actually matter quite a bit. Terminate the draw here for Majors.
Probably too little too late on that one.
Well, just it is a little something you talked about. Like the longer we go, it's just bad for Michael.
Yeah.
Because of the Ivugans. Dismember the draw? Sure. Yeah, attack with everybody. Yeah, that's going to do it. Jacob Ball's going to win this match over Michael Majors 2-0. Mono Black Eldrazi going to take care of Grixis Control. And for Baugh, he's going to start off 4-0. We'll have a deck tech from him for you a little bit later today as we have a backup match being moved. I think it's going to be Ali Antrazi versus Steve Rubin here. It looks like it's going to be that way, but we got a deck here.